Welcome to SufiVoice.com, the voice of humanity. From today onwards, we'll be doing a series of talks on NLP. You might have heard a lot about NLP. We'll be looking at what NLP is, and in this series of talks, we'll try to explore the basic foundation concepts of NLP. So let us get started with what NLP is. NLP is a set of techniques that were developed to help people in order to improvise the living standards, in order to help themselves in all walks of their life. No doubt, NLP is a very powerful set of techniques. If learned and applied in your day-to-day life, they can completely transform your life. Okay, so let's first see what this NLP stands for. So we have three letters: N, L, P. N stands for neuro-linguist, neuro. L stands for linguist, and P stands for programming. Okay, so before going in how or what NLP is, this NLP emerged in the early years of 1970s, and the system was developed by two eminent personalities, Richard Brander and John Grinder. They were two eminent people who started asking a very important question. If something works for others, why doesn't it work for all the other people? If a technique works for one person, is it possible that the same technique, if it is applied to other people, it should work? And this very basic question helped them to explore and land themselves in a completely new, innovative set of techniques which dramatically changed the living lifestyle and how people looked at themselves. The whole credit goes to these two eminent personalities, Richard Bandler and John Grinder. John Grinder was a linguist, means he was an expert, language expert. Together they had set out to explore why something is successful or good with few people and why some people fail. And they came up with a prime concept that success can be replicated, success can be achieved. So NLP is the set of techniques that is quite useful to all walks of people. Let it be students, let it be a homemaker, let it be corporate employees, corporate professionals. So all walks of people can use this efficient and magnificent NLP techniques. So before going in, let us first have a little bit recap of what will be our series of talks. So today we'll be exploring at what NLP is, and in this series of talks we'll be focusing on subconscious and conscious mind. So when we talk about mind, people say people talk about conscious and subconscious mind. So we'll explore what is a conscious mind and what is a subconscious mind, What is the connection between these two minds? A very basic concept, but it's definitely a very important concept to have a clear understanding. This simple concept of conscious and subconscious mind working functionality, if you get a clear picture, it is enough to drastically change your life. It can bring a significant change in the way we look in our day-to-day life scenarios. Moving on ahead, we'll be dealing with submodalities. Submodalities or perceptions. So, or in simple words, we can also say they are gateways of knowledge. So, what are the gateways of knowledge? Vision, hearing, smell, touch. These are the gateways of knowledge. And that's how we perceive a thing. Let us say someone looks at a flower. So the eye part tells the person about the beauty of the petal's texture, how soft, how brilliant, radiant the colors of the flower are. Adding to the vision part, the smell tells us about the fragrance of the flower, how pleasant smell the flower emits or gives. Then when you touch the soft petal, we have a soothing feeling, you have a pleasant feeling. So to understand just a simple beautiful flower, we are using our perceptions, gateways of knowledge. And when all these things together, that's how our mind understands that the object which is before your eye is a flower. Because it starts to identify the characteristic of vision, characteristic of sound, okay, characteristic of touch, okay. So we'll be trying to understand the importance of submodalities. Then moving further, we'll be looking at presuppositions. This is another very important concept in itself, and it is widely used in the marketing field. So we'll be looking at what presuppositions are, why they are important, and we'll try to work on a small activity or exercise related to presuppositions. It's a very powerful tool, very widely used, especially in the marketing area. Okay. Then we'll be looking at modeling. Okay. Now the basic concept of NLP is broadly focused on models. So what is a model? Model is a set of things that a person does to achieve a success. Like, for example, we'll take for instance, there are two sportsmen. Okay, the coach is same, environment is same. Okay, their tools or their the set of utilities they have, everything is same. Then how come one person is very successful and other person is not able to achieve that degree of success? Or rather, let us put it in this way. How come one is very successful and the other is struggling to achieve this success? So what NLP does is, NLP studies the characteristics of a person who is very successful. And when this characteristics of a successful professional are adopted and installed in another person who is not aware of it or who is committing some mistake somewhere, and when this person acquires that skill set, then he will also be equally good as his other friend. So we'll be looking, or we'll be having a basic inputs on what modeling is, and we'll discuss about meta model in detail. Then moving on further, we'll be working with mind frames. mind framing, it's a very powerful technique, and we'll explore and see what a frame is. Okay, so now it may sound a little bit technical, but as we move on, as we go through the course, I will try to simplify the things as much as possible, and let us see that together we can make this, or we can share our knowledge, and we can successfully complete or have good insights from this course. Then moving on further, whenever someone talks about NLP, you would have heard about anchors. The moment you say NLP, people talk about anchors. So, an anchor is a form of stimulation. Everything is in the world is because of stimulation. Unless and until there is no external impulse, things will not change on their own. And anchor in NLP is another very powerful technique, and it is widely used by people, and definitely everyone who is familiar with NLP says that anchors are a very good, effective technique, powerful technique of NLP. We'll explore on what or how basically an anchor works, what are anchors, and how they can be created and how they can be destroyed. Okay, for time being, just keep in your mind that anchors are a very powerful, it's a very powerful NLP technique which we'll explore in detail in the coming days. Then we'll be looking at pattern interpretation. Okay, so pattern interpretation is also a very basic. It looks simple, but it's a very powerful and effective thing to be learned and to be utilized. Now, NLP has its journey from a long time back. It all started in the 1970s. Okay. Now let us move on to our present session. We talked about NLP. We discussed that NLP stands for neuro. Neuro is the physical component. Like in everyone's brain, we have some millions of neurons. Okay. Now to make the concept simple, a neuron is a small cell in the brain which is responsible for the physical activity of the brain. Whenever something happens, it is the neuron that understands and gives suggestions to the body to respond in the required manner. Okay, so neuron, for our understanding, to make the things simple, let us understand that neuron is a physical component of our brain that helps us to organize or helps us to deal with our emotions and actions or reactions in different situations. So if neuron happens to be the physical component, then the second letter of NLP is L, linguist. So linguist is dealing with language. Okay, linguist is a language aspect. Now when someone has an emotion, maybe a bad or a good emotion, how does he express? Just having a sense or an emotion is not enough. Maybe the person understands, but how will he express? He will express it in the form of words. So the first entity is related with physical neuron, and a second one is related with language. We use language to communicate. Though sometimes gestures, facial expressions may be understood, but people generally don't react on gestures or facial expressions. They expect words, they expect the message to be clear and very straightforward words. So neuro-linguistic. Now the third thing is programming. Now, you may be seeing it as three different things. So on one side, we talk about the smallest cell of the brain, neuron, or deals with physical entity. On other side, we say that it is related with language. And what's the third thing? Programming. Now, this in a way is not the same as we deal with a computer program. So what happens in a computer program? To get a job done, computer cannot think on its own. So it has to be instructed. Now a series of steps which tell the computer to carry on a task is a program, isn't it? For example, if you want to add two numbers, then in that case you will tell the computer, okay, first create a space, or which we call it as a variable. Then we go and say that, okay, hold the first name or first number and the first variable, then go for creating another space, another variable, and hold the second number in that variable. Now we say add the two variables and store the result of two variables in another third variable. Then finally we have a result. So the computer doesn't display the result. Again, it has to be given an instruction. So we tell the computer, okay, now you have added the two numbers, display the result, and our job is done. Means what are we doing? We are telling the machine a series of steps, or we are instructing the machine to follow a series of steps. In a similar manner, knowingly or unknowingly, within our body, the same procedure happens. Let us take a small example. Now, sometimes you would have noticed that if you are busy in a conversation, okay, and one of your staff member has offered you a cup of tea, and he has also informed you that the tea is very hot, you better wait for some time. The person gave you the instruction, he informed you, but still, maybe because of getting too involved in the conversation, sometimes we tend to forget. And when you touch the cup, you can sense the hotness and you can feel the hotness. Immediately, without taking the second step, we take one step back. We immediately take our hand back. Okay, now why is it happening? Because we had programmed it in our system. Our system knows that if you touch or something that is very hot beyond your body temperature, it may burn your skin. So this is programmed within us. Okay, this is already programmed within us. So immediately we push back our hand. Okay, now in reality, are we conscious? No. When you have touched the hot cup, you were not conscious. You would have completely forgot about it. But the warmness was sensed first by the brain, and immediately brain sent you a signal. Okay, don't catch it. If you catch the cup, it is very hot. You may burn your hand. Pull your hand back. So all these instructions get executed one after the other by the brain. I think now you can understand the connection between these three: neurons, language, and programming. Okay, so the main NLP deals bridging up the gap between the language and the neurons. Okay, so this started in the beginning and gradually it has evolved into a very powerful technique. Okay, so that gives a very clear picture of what NLP is. And that brings us to the end of today's session. So before I wind up the session, so I would like to tell you that NLP itself is a professional field dealt with professionals, and this course just focuses on the basic concepts of NLP. Okay, the main intention is to share with you the main foundation concepts of NLP, and it is not intended you to award or to certify you as an NLP practitioner. NLP itself has evolved as a complete system of successful techniques and principles. People spend years together to master them. No doubt they will be very effective. Now you may ask, what makes me to take up this concept? Because I would say I have spent significant years in imparting linguistic skills to students, and at the same time I am also a postgraduate of psychology. So that gave me the basic inputs, or since I have a good understanding of how psychologically the things work, I had taken up this job of sharing few basic inputs of NLP with you all. Hope you all had enjoyed the session, and please do support the services of sufivoice.com, and don't forget to share with your friends and relatives, and do support me on Sufi Voice channel, okay, YouTube channel. Thank you once again. Have a good day. Bye.